Hey yo, it's your boy Sam Duke,
It's your man Tim McKell.
It's your boy Warren P.
and you are listening to another great episode of You
You
Good,
good,
Bruh?
bruh?
I
Yes, sir.
feel like
Yes,
I'm
sir.
coming in hot.
Welcome
Bless.
back. Nah,
Feel like
man, you're
I'm coming in
good.
hot. All
but,
right.
but yeah, man. Look, welcome to another great episode. We're back again. And today we're discussing something that I think it's important to discuss. Kind of put some perspective out there, throw some
It's
things out there.
essential that we
One of
discuss
my
it.
what it is essential, isn't it? It's one of my favorite. It's actually one of my favorite things to talk about. To be honest with you, is
Yeah.
is friendship. Friendship,
Mm.
and you kind of hit on it, Mikhail. We said it's essential. Me and Mikhail are the bros, and Warren is a noob, so
Shout out to Noops.
he knows a little bit
1911 in
about
the house.
friendship.
Right.
And one of the quotes that the bros like to say is one of our mottos is friendship is essential to the soul. And so imagine my surprise when I got a phone call from one of my friends that she wanted to kind of she I told her I would shout her out and let people know that she brought this to the table. So shout out to my friend. She called me and she was just like, "Look, I think this is something fellas need to talk about. Need to talk about not just friendship, but the quality of the friendship that the
Mm.
fellas have out here." And I was like, okay, elaborate. Like talk to me about it. I just wanted to get an idea of you know what where she was coming from. And she was just like, she was like, she had a conversation with one of her men friends, and he said that uh men friendships are low maintenance. And her response was, if your friendship is low maintenance, you're probably one, either a bad friend or don't have any good friends. And
Cap.
and I look
Listen.
and I you know, and I heard her. You know what I'm saying? I listened to
Mhm.
her, and I kind of tried to get an idea of what her point was. And I think from her point, her perspective, I think her space was, she was saying that good friendships are have maintenance. Like they require some level of maintenance. And the she was like, and the idea that you're saying that guys friendships are low maintenance, she was just like, that just means you either don't have good friends, or you don't have a good friend, or you're not a good friend yourself. And so I was like, okay, well, this is something we'll bring to the conglomerate. We'll bring it to the fellas, and we'll have a conversation about. And so, yeah. So what do you guys think about men and our friendships?
I'm assuming Warren wants to go first.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and ISO. Break the triangle. I got it, baby. So first, I do think most men's friendships are low maintenance. But the thing is, I feel and have had experience, there's certain moments to whereas like, hey, my brother, I need you. I need to talk to you about this. So I have something like going on in my life to whereas I need my friend, I need my brother, I need somebody to talk to. And you have those moments, but those moments aren't every day or every other week. Like we all know we face storms in our life at different times. Men are either healthily or unhealthily taught, hey man, you gotta figure that shit out. Now you may run into some cats to where there's a friendship to whereas, I'm gonna help you figure that out. That may be one person. There may be another friend that, hey, let's talk about this. Or there may be another person to whereas like, yo, if you need me, reach out to me. You have those that reach out without having to ask for it, and you have those to whereas if you reach out to them, they'll be there for you. But I feel from a male's perspective when it comes to friendship, like a lot of times, being that we may have a lot of things on our plate, we don't want to feel as if we're burdening somebody else, another man, and going into having those conversations. And that isn't everybody. That I don't even think that's majority of people, but I know myself at times, and I've talked about it on here before, like the thoughts of suicide, and I didn't reach out to anybody about it because I have very close friends, and I was just like, man, I just don't want to put this on their plate. But at the same time, when I did reach out, shout out to my wife, shout out to my brother and other friends, when we had these conversations, like, it was good. It was like, we can have these conversations. I knew we could, but my attitude was I just didn't want to put that burden on somebody else's plate. So I do think that is something to whereas when it comes to male friendships, a lot of us have that attitude to where it's like, I don't want to burden my brother with this. I know he got shit going on. I don't want to add to it. But once you say to somebody like, hey, bro, I don't give a fuck. If I got something going on, you got something going on, we going to go through it together. And then you have those conversations. I feel like once it is open, then you can build upon it. But in most cases, well, not in most cases, but in a lot of cases, we may keep things to ourselves.
I mean, in a way, is that, but I hear what you're saying, Warren, but in a way, it sounds as if it's low maintenance because you're making it low maintenance. Like you're actually creating less maintenance from a standpoint of when you're in need, you kind of hold off or kind of wait to kind of put it out there that you
Yeah,
need
but I mean
certain things.
that also comes at a point. And one of the first questions I would have liked to ask her, like, how old are these men?
Well,
Because
we'll assume there
I
are.
think it's across the board. It
Yeah,
doesn't matter the age. This is because it's being a friend or how you are a friend is just as taught as knowing how to cook. Like everything in life is taught, right? Nothing that I guess you could say socially that is innate. You know what I'm saying? Like everything that deals with society, how you function, is taught, and that's through all creatures on this earth. You look at lion prides or how puppies are raised with dogs. The mom, like, they correct the puppies to let them know, and then there's an alpha, there's a beta. You know what I'm saying? Like there's always some type of structure that's implemented, and in our existence, being a friend is something that's taught. So you may not be a good friend if you didn't have it taught to you by your parents or whoever was in charge of your care, so on and so forth. So we could start there and just kind of build up. Well, I'm sorry, Sam.
But what is considered a good friend? Because that's another one of the main questions that we will have to answer this question.
That's really subjective. But I can tell you that in psychology, we fall into the bracket of, or at least the thinking, rather, that there's 4 types of friends. There's acquaintances. Acquaintances are people like you live in a neighborhood, you go to the grocery store, you see the same cashier so much to the point that y'all speak, and y'all may even know each other's names because they've seen your credit card or a check, or you see their name tag. You're like, hey, Hazel, hey, Miguel.
Yeah.
Like that's an acquaintance. It's friendly. It's somebody that when you see him, you actually happy to see him. Like, oh, somebody I know.
Yeah.
That type of deal. And if you saw Hazel in the parking lot with her hood up, chances are you may say, hey, everything okay? Versus somebody you've never met before. Right.
Yeah.
So acquaintance does hold some regard in your mind, in your mind share. Okay. That's one type of friend. Casual friend, which this is where most people fall into, are friends that are born out of something that you're like-minded with. Or you have, like, if you play tennis or you play golf and y'all play together, you've been on a team with them, things of that nature. So you build a bond through whatever it is that you're going through, but it's not somebody that you necessarily be like, my mom's having a retirement dinner tonight and I'd like you to come because this person's never met your mother. You know what I mean? So that they are close enough that you'll meet up with them for a drink, but not so close that they know your family by name and by face. And then you start bridging into the next level. And this is the level where I think she may be and have been referring to. Like these close friends, which is the next level, are people that these are people that you can have conversations with that are not necessarily comfortable, and you could have a difference of opinion, but you're not afraid that the friendship will end because of it. Right. Um, some brothers I know growing up, we could fight and then fist fight. And the next day we back playing football and
Yeah.
basketball and going to the store and doing knucklehead stuff like men do, young boys do.
Yeah.
That could be consider somebody that you close friends with. The next level is intimate friend. Now, intimate friend, most people immediately think something sexual. It's not. Intimacy is just somebody that you share your darkest fears with.
Yeah, it means to know, like somebody
Yeah,
that actually knows
that
you.
right. So when you were in your dark place, this is somebody that you would not have had a problem calling. Because let me back up and say this. Part of your resistance to calling in that space, Warren, is you're in crisis. When you're having those thoughts, you're not thinking clearly. Right. So ultimately, your resistance is part of the crisis. I'm going to repeat that because people need to realize that when you're going through something and you try to hide it from the people that you know love you, that is a symptom of the crisis. So I hope people write that down and remember that. So going forward, intimate friends are people that you do call in the darkest hour. These are people that must be at your wedding. These are people that have to be at your birthday party. These are people that you must be at their wedding. Like that, you may be in the wedding party. Like these are people that are arguably family versus the title of friend. So when you look at the 4 levels of friendship, and we reflect on what the young lady was sharing, for men, what I heard and what I found to be true is that we tend to have a larger pool of casual friends than anything else.
And
And
that's real. That's
and,
real
and
right there. 'Cause
right,
that's when you were going through it. That's what I was like. What he said, oh, somebody you play like basketball with or football. I was like, that's where we are right there.
yeah,
But a
that's where
lot
we
of
are.
men,
That's our special sauce. And so the thing is that I think some of it is innate in terms of where we're comfortable, since we are social creatures. So men, we tend to enjoy social activities. We tend to enjoy engagement or competition. Like that's our juice, as one of my clients got me saying now. That's our juice. And juice, thank you for the correction.
There it is.
And so I think part of it is an education for her to understand men in the scope of where we operate. But to her point, I do feel like we lack deeper level friendship because we've never been taught how to do that. Like
I want to elaborate on that piece because I think
Okay.
that when she started speaking about like the taught aspect, because it's like, okay, who teaches you how to be a friend? And I kind of equated it to like how we teach men how to be men, right?
Mhm.
And so instead of like worried about how you teach people, like who taught you how to be a friend, you start to think about like, okay, who taught you how to be a man, and what does it mean to be a man? And we've had a whole bunch of conversations about
Yes, sir.
masculinity. We've talked about what it looks like to be tough, what and the be a man complex, and what we teaching guys and
What's toxic? What's not?
Yeah, what's toxic? What's not? All of this
Right.
stuff, right? And my idea is see it from my standpoint. When you talk about like your old school friends that you grew up with, it's a lot closer. It's tight. Like it's tight
There's
because
comfortability
I think
there.
there's comfortability there, but I think those are the friends that you find before society tells you what you need to look like.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like before you kind of get into the point where you're kind of like my friends from elementary, middle school, the ones I was like tight with for back in the day, those are, those are real tight friendships. And I think I have really good friendships, by the way. I don't think I subscribe to what my friend was speaking about when it comes to friendships,
Yeah.
but I do understand the friends that I've made casually as an adult. Because I think there's a difference between what it was like before I kind of learned what the world expects of me versus what it's like once I kind of, because I think we all are susceptible to the way the world kind of tries to mold men. I think right now I've been in a space of like unlearning, relearning, rebuilding, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. But I fell victim to that as well. So I've had friendships with people that were casual that I didn't realize. I made it seem like it was a real friendship or like a deep friendship, a close friendship, but it really was just we shot hoops together, or
Right.
we
I mean,
he lived across the hall.
I'll be honest with you. The 4 stages of friendship is basically like matriculating through college, freshman,
Mhm.
sophomore, junior, senior, right? So your
Yeah.
casual friend, remember my reference to Miss Hazel? She was an acquaintance until you helped her in the parking lot. Now she's somebody be like, you know, we got a sale on Sisters Day. Make sure you pick it up for your kids because your kids are with you when you know what I'm saying? Like it's she now has
she looking out. Yeah, now
right.
she looking
So
out. Yeah.
it goes up. And
Yeah.
so that's the thing about friendships is that you could be promoted. You could also be demoted.
Fact.
When it got really popular in the last decade. No new friends.
Shout out to Drizzy.
That's where the
Yeah,
message is what it
it-
is. I don't subscribe to it.
Well,
agree.
I mean, but what's crazy about that is it was such a cool thing. Like it was so popular. Like
Yeah.
it was the thing that when that type of thing dropped, you would hear people say it. And actually my friend who brought us the topic, she's from New York. And so she was just like, New York men think it's so cool to like be by themselves, to not need nobody, to like not want to be. And I was like, that's interesting because
Yeah,
I don't
culturally.
subscribe. I'm Southern, so it's like that's not the way we move. But when she said it, I was like, that kind of makes sense. Like it's that idea that no new friends, we ain't doing that. I don't need
stand on my own.
or
I don't
we
need
too
nobody.
cool. Or we too cool to
Well,
have a whole
let me
bunch of
say this.
people
Some of
moving
the
around us.
I'm gonna make one notation. Like the
Yeah.
dudes I know from New York, they had their boys. The people that they grew up with. To your original point, the problem is that in certain markets or certain spaces, culturally, it's not to your advantage to have a lot of friends because you don't know what agenda that person may have. And in a city of 12 million people, you got all types of personalities and characters that you got to look out for. So to lower my anxiety, it's just better if I just block people out. Because I don't know who's the shark and who's the tuna or the wolf or the sheep, or however you want to look at it, right? So sometimes the environment that you're raised in teaches you how to survive. And part of that survival tactic is when you see a strange face in your neighborhood, that may be a problem. So you need to treat it like one until you discover that it's not. You feel me? Like when I moved to New York, it turns out, even though I would go there as a child, the neighborhood changed over. At one point, it was African American, then it was Puerto Rican, then it was Jamaican, then it was Dominican. And what changed? Well, I should say who controlled it. That's what I should say. I think it was Dominican most of the time, but it was power struggles going on. I'll leave it at that. But I had moved to New York, and I'm a Southerner. I talk different, and I was seen as, who this cat? Who the fuck is this cat?
He ain't from around here.
He ain't from around here. But I moved there, I moved in with my grandmother, and they knew Miss Russell. You know what I mean? So when they saw me with her, everybody was like, "Oh, okay. Oh, Miss Russell's your grandmother? Oh, okay. That's what's up. That's what's up. You know,
Yeah.
all of a sudden the hammers went
for
back down. You know,
Yeah.
like it was. But when they first saw me, it was like, "Yo, get that cat. Who that?" And that's the environment. So the friendships there, when they're made, they are bonded for life. It's almost like soldiers of fortune. You know what I mean? That made it back from a war zone. They're constantly or forever bonded to that kid that they grew up with in that war zone. But they also learn that you can't trust new faces. So they bridge out into the world. They're not going to make close friends like that.
Yeah.
It's not what they were taught, and it's not what they experienced. Now, you and I growing
Well-
up in the South, you know, we always had that acquaintance, that Southern hospitality, that
Yeah.
you know how you speak to everybody. Hell,
Yeah.
we spoke to our enemies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just
Yeah. You
it's
gonna
in our
speak.
it's what we were taught.
Yeah.
I do want to kind of ask your opinion on what a good friend is, because that's the subjectivity that I think touches to what she wants,
Well,
you
I
know,
think.
looking for.
Oh, go ahead.
Go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
Warren.
Oh, no, well-
you can speak.
When I was young, my brother used to teach me, you find out who your real friends are when it came to money and fighting. Like if something popped off, if a nigga didn't have your back, he wasn't your friend, or if you was down bad on your luck and somebody didn't, help you from a money perspective, like shit, he or she wasn't a real friend. And that's him teaching me at I'm 12, 13, him 17, 18. So in my mind, it was like, all right, that's what a good friend does. But to me, going back to the losses that I incurred, I was always an emotional friend. Like, and when I say emotional, I mean like I'm gonna holler at you. If I have an issue with you, good or bad, something's going on, I'm gonna praise you when you're doing well. If you fucking up, I'm gonna holler at you about it. Never in front of other people, but we can have those conversations because I want you to be better. Like that's how I looked at friendship. Like
Now, is that
friendship
you practice that whether there's an acquaintance, casual, close, or intimate friend?
if
Or
it's a
just
I'll say
you
close
can paint that with
acquaintance
a
or
wide
higher.
brush. Like is that everybody?
Like
you walking up to Miss Hazel,
Hello,
Miss Hazel, you
Miss Hazel.
picking up.
It's like
Yeah,
you
like,
bagged them groceries wrong last week,
Right.
and this week you
You
didn't
put the
say what's up when I walk
egg
by. Like what the fuck going on, Miss Hazel?
close acquaintance are high, but you would approach those situations by saying like, "Hey, yo, everything good with you? Like, I noticed like such and
Oh,
such. Like,
shit.
you all right? I'm just concerned, whatever." And then that opens it. In most cases, their guard be down and then open it up. But to me, a good friend is somebody you can call on if you need them. Because we can have a good relationship. Because I have friends like, for example, I got 2 homies that live out in Portland. We'll probably share text messages like once a month or every other month. And it's been like that for the past 10 years, 15 years now. But I went in and visited them boys all the way in Portland. And my wife was like, yeah, I know you know them, but y'all don't talk like that. Y'all don't,
They ain't
whatever.
come
And
through
I was
the
like,
wedding.
but
Yeah.
when we was in college together, like these are my niggas. They just happen to move somewhere else. They got families. I got family. I know I don't have time to necessarily water and grow that relationship as we once did when we were men who only had to worry about passing school and going to work. So it's like, but when we talk to each other, it's as if we're those same 22,
It's like
23-year-olds.
like
who
the
are
day,
like,
like you ain't been no distance. It's almost like
Yeah.
you saw him yesterday.
so
Now
when,
that I'm a bruh.
let me finish this.
I'm gonna
'cause
let you finish, but I gotta
that,
put a
and that goes into the
tack in that.
when it goes back to the low maintenance. Like when I was going through, and then we talked about it on the podcast, when I was at my lowest in 2020, I was able to talk. Mind you, I hadn't been talking to them boys like that, but I was able to talk to them boys about those problems, and they were able to, I was able to lean on them, even though we didn't talk all the time. So when it goes back to the low maintenance stuff, it's like, to me, a good friend is there when you need them. And they understand, like, hey, bro, you may not call me every day. You may not call me every week. But my man, if you my brother, if you somebody I say I love, when you need me, I'm going to be there for you. And that's what I consider a good friend. Like, yo, even if you got some shit going on, I'm gonna put that shit away, put that shit to the side. My boy down here hurting, or my friend down here hurting. So I'm gonna sacrifice whatever I got going on to uplift this brother, uplift this sister when I'm needed. And sometimes it doesn't have to be when they're needed. Just a casual, like, yo, you was on my spirit today. How are you doing? Like shit like that to me, I look at as a good friend, because I understand we all live in our own lives. We have different things going on. So you may not necessarily have the same time you had at one point to be calling somebody every day. When Tech, y'all know that's my best friend. When he had his child, me and him used to talk every day. When he had his child, it's like, okay, we may talk once every other day or once every other 3 days. But when I'm calling him, baby in the background going crazy. But I understand, like, our friendship doesn't change. Like, we just have to adjust. Like, when we do talk, let's say before it used to be like 15 minutes. Now that we know that time is sparingly, it may be 30 minutes to an hour conversation now, because we know, hey, got shit going on, man. So
Yeah, but you want to pick up that friendship. So there's still that I don't want to say weight, because I don't like the idea of it like the friendship weighing on you, but there's still that that give and take. You get what I'm saying? Like it's still quality is what I'm saying. It's still good quality friendship. Go ahead, Mikhail. I know you had something to touch on.
No, I mean, honestly, I think for me, and I think for other people, because it's something that I kind of observed, is that men, and I don't want to, I hate speaking in generalities, but just in context of what we're talking about, men, we don't have a lifetime premium on friendship. Like once we've decided who you are to us, that's how we'll always be. That's one reason why you're able to not see somebody for 2-3 years and maybe talk to them once or twice. And then when y'all finally do link up, whether it be at homecoming or whether it be, like you said, you went out to see him, it's like you saw him yesterday. Like it's, because you are who you show yourself to be, and we just kind of accept it. But then when you look at women, it seems like they have to pay this premium. Their premium is higher. Girls' nights, girls' trips, girls this. Everybody got to show up. If she don't show up, I didn't get invited to her little party. I didn't like they have this thing where it's a tally on stuff, and I just found that that's not really what I need.
I'm going to say this because I think that this is I think the distinction that you made is important, because that is true. I think that we've already talked about women and their coalitions and their self-care initiatives and the way that they socialize. That's the way they
Right.
socialize, right? But as being a guy that recently came from a guy's trip, that's all we could talk about. Is like, bro, we need to do more of this. Like,
I know, right?
This is what we need. Like, we was just, I mean, literally sitting in the room, chatting it up, talking about marriage, throwing back drinks, not thinking about, like literally
Yeah.
just kind of be existing as men, right? And I think that's the piece of it, is like when she's talking about the quality. Now, mind you, it sucks that they fall out over that type of stuff, right? Like, oh, who didn't go, who couldn't make it on a trip, who did,
Right.
But there also is a value in the fact that they want to congregate in that manner. And I'll speak for, I don't like to speak in generalities either, but I'll speak for men to say that we would like to do that as well. Like, because when we get in those spaces, that's all we talk about is, damn, why don't we do this?
So what's the resistance? What makes it? Is it?
Yeah.
Like, what is that?
Well, I think a part of the resistance is just it's just not something that is when we start talking about what's being taught. The idea of boys trip, I'm not saying it's not masculine, but when you say girls trip, it just seems like it rolls better, right? You're like, it just automatically seems like
I would say ours feels a little bit more sinister.
It does. It seems like we're on some demon time shit, right?
Yeah.
It's like, but what I'm saying is, like, I think that's it's funny because I was reading an article on CNN. And they was talking about aspects of friendship just don't align with what you would consider masculinity. in this world that we're in, right?
Mm.
And one of the psychologists was talking about how it's like, yeah, we're not naturally like that, but over time we kind of become like that. We become like in this space where, and not just that, society looks at it like you said, boys trip seems sinister. It's like, what are y'all going to Mexico to do? It's like the
Why
same
y'all going
shit-
to the Dominican for?
yeah. But the same shit that y'all going there to do, to enjoy each other's company, enjoy times, create memories, whatever the case may be. But it's just not viewed in that way. And I think from our standpoint as men, like I said, as somebody coming from a boys trip recently, all we were saying was like, bro, we got to do this at least once or twice a year. Like, and it don't have to be us. We just need to do it. If you want to do it with some of your other boys, it's just necessary that we have something like that.
I mean,
Because-
fellowship, but what it sounds like you're saying is fellowship, an
Yeah.
opportunity to fellowship. So
Yeah.
for those of us that don't have the bandwidth, whether it be financial or time, to fellowship on a trip, what about the local stuff? Like what is it that we can do locally that constitutes connection? That's
Yeah.
that's the majority of us. You
Nah,
know what I
nah.
mean?
Nah, I don't have this issue. But
Okay.
I know some of my partners that have ladies.
Oh, come on, brother. Come on now.
That have
Speak-
ladies to
You know what?
whereas-
Time to
Wh-
speak on it right now.
that
Let's go.
Have ladies that whereas
Pivot.
men have to
No.
make decisions. Do I deal with her insecurity issues, or do I stay my ass at the house? Do I have to get into a battle?
There
Right.
it is, right
Do I
there.
have
There
to
it
get in a
is.
battle about X, Y, and Z? Oh, you ain't home. You ain't spending time. You ain't doing this. And mind you, that man could have been home for 29 days straight.
Yeah.
Took his lady out for 29 days straight. On day 30, when he wants to go out with his boys, what you
Oh,
going out with
man.
them for? What's this? So a lot of men have to make those conscious decisions. I give y'all an example. We do this. Some friends from college. We do this fantasy draft. We'll go out. I just came from like 2 weeks ago. We'll go to the cabins. You know, drinks, whatever. Everybody got kids and stuff now. And we'll draft. Yeah, we do our draft super early. You supposed to wait till September, but based on our schedules, this is the
Mhm.
only time.
Real
we
life.
Yeah,
do it.
this is the best time.
Right.
Yeah.
I know one person in particular who says, like, look, my wife will come at me about shit all year when it comes to like doing something for myself. And I let it slide. But he's like, when it comes to this trip, I look forward to this. Like, he's one of the dudes, it's 10 of us. He'll one of the dudes that he'll wake up before everybody else, go outside for like 2 hours. And I used to peep him doing it probably 4 or 5 years ago. And I was like, what the fuck is he doing? And then it clicked. I was like, yo, this is the first time this man has had peace. this year.
This is it. This is all he got right here.
Right.
Like-
This moment.
This is the first time this man has had peace this whole year. And this past year, I actually talked to him about it, and he was like, yeah, bro, like, I'll sit out here and it's just quiet. I haven't felt this.
Right.
And then, like, with my wife, like, we'll still get in arguments about this because, you know, oh, you ain't watching the kids. You doing this. You taking time. You being selfish. I had another man, I overheard him talking to his wife. He woke up a little bit later because we had drinks and stuff. His wife says to him, oh, you didn't call us this morning. While you out there, don't forget you got a family. Like,
Oh,
little
my God.
like, I got mad. Like, but it's little shit like that that men have to go through, that have to
Ooh.
sacrifice. So when she said the thing about the low maintenance friendships, it's like, no, it's not that it's necessarily low maintenance, but a lot of
Yeah.
men understand, like, hey, bro, I understand you can't come out like that. You gotta
Right.
take care of home. You gotta do X, Y, and Z. I think there's more of an understanding of us on our end versus I know a lot of my women friends that when they got married or when they had kids, their friend circle start to get smaller and smaller versus like with men, it's
That-
like, hey, bro,
That,
I understand
that's
you
true.
got yeah.
Yeah.
I understand you got responsibilities. Get at me when you get at me. And if you need me,
But-
I'm here for you, dog.
Since we're giving a man's perspective, though, I do want to add to what you're saying and say this: most men, I won't say all because there's some niggas out here to be tripping, but most men will create and cultivate a space for their wife to get the hell on and go be with her friends.
They need to
Most
be
men.
taught that. That's something they need to be taught.
I'm saying men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll say this once for dudes and dudes, y'all can hear me, and I know y'all can feel me on this one. The minute that you say you're ready to do something with your homeboys, you start getting the side eye. You know, people start your woman start looking at you crazy. Hell, even your kids be like, "So where you going again, Daddy? I don't want you gonna be going all this time." And I'm like, "Yo, y'all need to chill."
Mhm.
But it's like it's like then we're not keeping the same energy. You know what I'm saying? And the importance of what it means to be able to hang out with your boys, to be able to connect with your guys in the way that you say y'all do when y'all doing y'all fantasy draft, whatever the case may be. When me and my homeboys did our recent guys trip, like the experience and the way that we were able to build our friendship and have these different conversations, a bit like the importance of that is up there, y'all. Like it is. It's up there, but for some reason, it like Mikhail said, it started to become something. And I'm not gonna say that it's without any faults, because the reason it becomes sinister because sometimes sinister shit happens.
do nigga
Right?
shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah,
that.
like
I was gonna
yeah,
reflect on one
yeah,
time I did stay away from my family, and I was with people that I thought I could be in the presence of, and yeah, they were doing shit they had no business doing. I was like, yeah, I can't fuck with y'all. Like
yeah,
how you were talking about earlier, Warren, about like once I realized what you on, I got to put some distance between you because I'm not trying to get caught up.
You don't want to be in that. You don't want to be in that number, in that space, or even view it in that way. Because y'all go to Colombia and then Buddy come back with a Colombian baby, and now it's just like, hold up,
you were there too.
You were there,
right.
You were
Birds
there.
of the feather fly together.
I gotta interject. But even with that, like, let's say Mikhail with your boy or one of your boys wilding, you can go up to bro and be like, "Hey, bro, like I really can't rock with that."
That's what Warren was saying earlier. Yeah.
That's exactly what I did.
Yeah, in
like,
most cases,
I'm just talking about what happened.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Cases, but they will tell you like, "Hey, bro, I get it. Like, hey, you ain't gotta be involved."
That's right, and I don't get phone calls for that no more. That's my point. Like once I let the world know how I'm getting down,
you're on different time.
I'm on different time. I don't get those calls, and therefore I don't have that interference in my life. What I found to be true about our counterparts is that they still maintain that closeness with somebody that's on that time.
Women,
I'm talking about
do that.
They still
you know
do
what?
That. And that's where that's just what it is. So we just like, oh wow, that's why men are so quick to be like birds of the feather. That's why we're like, oh okay, I'm looking at you kind of side eye, but go on about your business. Whatever's done in the dark come to light. I ain't worried about it. But that's what it really boils down to, is that men, we tend to curate our experience based on our values at the time. And you can't do trips with everybody. I mean, not that kind of trip, because you go out to dinner, somebody want to split the bill, somebody said, well, I think we should cover everybody, like it's on you, like the rules of engagement at this stage of our lives have not been defined because our people that were supposed to teach us how to be men didn't have those experiences themselves. And I'm speaking specifically about Black men.
No, that's
because
real.
because our fathers and their fathers, they didn't have the social component. They didn't have the opportunities. Our relationships were born out of battle. So us learning how to do that now, to her point, maybe our lives will be more enriched if we managed our friendships more like women do. Maybe there is some strength in building that way, and maybe that will be the impetus to us creating these organizations, Sam, that you were talking about earlier. Like
I say this because I've been since she said this, I started researching it, and just to add on to what you're saying, I don't know if men know how unhappy men are with the closeness of the relationships that they have.
Correct.
And so there was a survey that was done in 2021 by the Survey Center on American Life.
Mm.
And it says that less than half of men reported to being satisfied with their friendships. And only about 1 in 5 said that they received emotional support from a friend within the last 2 weeks. And that's, and just to give you an idea of the difference, is women were responding about 4 out of 10 where they had received some type
Right.
of emotional support from a friend within the
One
last
out
2
of
weeks. So
5 and 4 out of
4 out of 10
4
for
out of
women.
10
Yeah, it's almost
and
half of women, and then you got maybe
25% of guys.
20, 20%.
20%.
Yeah, 20% of guys. And so
Jesus Christ.
yeah, I mean, when I saw that, I was like, ooh. And then when when you start to think about black men,
That's even lower.
it's probably a good bit lower when you start to think about it. And so from my standpoint, it's like the idea of how we improve the quality of the friendships is what I think we should take some time and just kind of focus on. Because I think, guys trips is cool. From my standpoint, like I told you, this is not an issue that I have. But what I've seen, in spaces where guys are congregating and where guys are cultivating these friendships. So when you start to talk about how we spend a lot of time in the casual space of friendships, is that we spend a lot of time not really focusing on things that could deepen the friendships. I was talking earlier before we even got on about how, like, it takes a guy like me or a guy like Mikhail or even a guy like Warren, because Warren made it clear that he's that friend that he even
You
with
fucking up, Miss
close
Hazel.
even with close casuals, he go fuck with Miss Hazel. He's gonna find out what's going on with her.
You gotta be better, dog.
But I think that I found that a lot of times I've had to tell men, like, bro, like, every time we get together, we ain't got to be drunk. Like, every time we get together, we don't have to be super high or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's okay to, like, operate in the soberness, and it's okay to operate in the authenticity of what we got going on. You get what I'm saying? So, like, if I'm linking with you, we getting wings, and I'm having a bad day, it's okay for me to be like, hey, man, I've been struggling today, man.
Right.
It's just been, it's just been a struggle. I think the idea that we have to turn up when we get our opportunity to be together, or we have to, what I'm saying? It's like a person like, oh, we need to get together, but only to, to forget what the shit we going through.
Right. As
Versus,
escapism.
like, exactly. Instead of being like, hey, man, I just need, sometimes with my close friends, it'd be like, hey, I need to get out the house. I'm struggling right now. And it's like, how many men out here feel comfortable in doing that? You know what I'm saying? I've had to do that for some of my homeboys, and they've had to do it for me. But when I talk to certain guys, it's not something they feel comfortable doing.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know what I'm saying?
I'll be honest. Even in my space, I will go eat alone, go have a drink by myself, and part of it is I don't believe anyone can understand my struggle. And remember, I was talking about earlier, Warren, how this is part of the crisis.
Yeah.
It's like you just had this thing where you feel alone. There was another study that came out that was talking about the loneliness in this country. And
That's on the rise.
And that's on the rise in spite of, and part of it is a lack of connection. So, sometimes it is a good idea. But I could tell you, I had both men and women close friends or intimate friends, right? The women do call me more. Just in a touches basis. Like if it ain't every week, it's every other week. Very rarely is it like extended beyond that. Like I'm going to get a text or a call or something at least twice a month if I'm not reaching out to them.
Yeah.
The guys, once every 2 months.
Man, we go long.
We go long. Like
we go long.
And you be on my heart. And you be on my heart.
It's wild, bro. It's wild because it's like, even, all right, look, we pod together. Me, Michelle, Warren, we pod together. We're close. We're cool. But even us, sometimes it's like we could go long, and then you hit Miguel up. It's like, bro, I'm struggling. It's like, nigga, what? Look, we talk several times a week. Sometimes it's like, but it's a I don't
It's
know.
just it's cultural. It's also, and what I mean subcultural.
Yeah.
Women, I believe, when I reflect over my mother's relationships, like if we take it back just for a second, my mother's relationships, she talked to her friends, most she worked with, so those friendships were born out of casual friendship. But then she had lifelong friendships, and her and Mary, they talked literally every
Every
day,
day.
and they would see each other at least, to my recollection, at least once a week, if not more. Either mom would go by Mary's house, Mary come by mama's house, our house. Her name is Rose. I mean, I'm just thinking about but I could name so many names for my mother, not so many names for my dad. And they were both in the household. So how is that the case? How is it that I'm more familiar with my mother's friends and not my dad's friends based on who came by the house, for example?
I can answer that question.
But you
somewhat
understand
with
what I'm
some
saying?
help.
I'm
Yeah.
posing it as a thought for everybody to kind of reflect over who taught you how to be a friend. That's what I'm saying. Like when you look at it from modeling behavior, the only friend that I remember from my father, and that was from his, he used to be in a motorcycle club. I remember Baby Low. I know Mr. Tharp. I don't know if he was I guess him and Big Red were friends. But he came by the house maybe once or twice in my teens. But these are people I would see out in the street. So everybody knew my daddy.
Yeah.
But close friends is what I'm talking about. People that he would invite to the house where his wife was, where his children were. He didn't do too much of that. And my mother was the other way around. And that's what I'm saying is like what I learned versus what I'm trying to do. Like right now, I'm inviting people to my house. You can just drive by. You can come on by. We can get the grill popping. You ain't gotta just let me know you're on the way. If I ain't got no meat, pick up something from the stove. You know, like
Yeah.
I'm trying to change that so that I could teach my kids to be social and to be friends and to understand what friendship looks like. You know what I mean? Like, because I recognize that what I was taught, it may not be sufficient for me because, I became a therapist because I struggle.
Mhm.
I'm struggling today. That was how, I sent y'all the text like, hey,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we need to record something because I need an outlet. I need to touch faces. I need to see people and engage in a conversation that was a little bit more deeper than what y'all want to eat today.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying is like, to Sam's point about the studies, I do feel like we men should explore how to have a healthier connection with our support structure because that's what friends are, right?
Yeah.
Do you have acquaintances? Do you have casual friends? Do you have close friends? Do you have intimate friends? And if
More
you
importantly, do
answer,
you know how to be one?
well,
A good one.
hold on, this is just a reflection of, do you have them? Whatever that definition is,
Yeah.
whatever that definition is, do you have all four? And if you don't have all four, then you need some assistance in how to be a good one in any of it. That's what I'm saying. Like it's any change starts with an assessment first. And so we need to assess the situation. I know that like our young men have built relationships with people that would actually pray for their downfall. That's why they embrace no new friends.
It's easy for them to do that.
It's easy for them to do it because of their
Yeah.
experience, kind of like my reflection on brothers from New York or
Yeah.
Philly for that matter. And that's the problem is that, these young bucks, they're not being taught loyalty. They're not being taught proper etiquette in the community or within their subculture, whatever it is, whether it be nefarious or sports. Like, what's up with the unsportsmanlike conduct going on right now? Like, it's crazy to me.
With grooming selfishness and
But but that's not a friend, is it?
no. Oh, I agree with you.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. So
Yeah.
it's because we're not assessing any of it and we're not addressing any of it. So I think, everybody needs a Warren. Everybody needs a Sam. Everybody needs a Warren that's gonna be like, hey man, you bagging up your shit crazy. Everybody needs a friend. Like Sam said, hey, let's take that trip. We out of here.
Yeah,
You
let's
know,
go.
and here's the
Let's
script
go.
that you give your family when they try to give you hell for leaving.
Hey
Like
man, and
everybody
I'm gonna give
needs
it to
that.
him too.
That's what I'm
Exactly.
saying.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that in your circle, then you don't have a circle. And you leaving yourself open to attack. And therefore confirmation bias that you don't need new friends. Like be the friend that you say you need. Let's start there.
And when we talk about when you talk about getting quality and becoming or having quality friends, becoming a quality friend,
Mhm.
that's it right there. That's the key.
Yeah.
It's literally really taking a look and saying, am I anybody's intimate friend? Anybody's close
Mhm.
friend? Am I, am I anybody's casual friend? Those type of things, and kind of getting an idea that in actually making an effort to be that.
I'm top heavy.
When we were, bruh,
I'm
what?
top heavy.
That's why I said
I don't have a
I
lot
can't
of
relate. Yeah, I can't
yeah,
relate.
I
I'm
need
intimate
casual
and
friends.
close.
I
Yeah.
need casual friends. I need acquaintances.
And
I
you know what?
need
My wife was just telling me that, because I was telling her, I was like, because where I'm at now, when I moved out, most of my friends don't live where I stay. And I realized, I was like, I don't have a we're close, let's just go to the bar friend,
Mhm.
And I was like, damn, that's crazy, because she's like, you such a social guy. Or for me, like, golf is my new thing.
Mhm.
And I don't have, like, I have to drive an hour and a half to one of my friends to go golfing, because it's like I don't have any. I'm top heavy, like y'all said. I got a lot of really good, intimate, close friends. Not so much casual. Oh, you down
Just
the
kick
street.
out for an hour. Yeah.
Yeah. And I need to do a little bit better job at that when we're talking about, because those guys, like, because I have them, like, my kids have fathers, and
Mhm.
they go to school with them, whatever, and I'm trying, Brandy's just like, you need to reach out
You
to
need to meet
this.
some new
Yeah,
guys.
some
Because
new
I'm
guys.
the same way. I do have a circle of guys that do guy trips, but they don't live close by. They live close by. When I was in Gwinnett, it
Yeah.
might have been better. Well, I know it would have been better because I stayed down the street from the course that they go to, but not so much anymore. So I missed the
Yeah.
trip to the DR. I missed the trip to it. I'm just disconnected of sorts. So that would have been. So I need to create that new
You're
circle.
casually disconnected.
Yeah.
Well, what what I'm
I'm
saying, like,
disconnected from that set.
yeah, from that segment, which is important. It's
Right.
actually cool that you brought that up, because it's like I do have a lack in that area,
Mhm. And you need them for
Yeah,
balance.
no, you do.
You need it for balance. So that's what I
But
got for
yeah,
this topic.
yeah, man. I think we beat this one down, man. We did a good job with it.
I
Look,
have to say something
go ahead,
Yeah.
brother. You
in
can wrap us
regards
up.
to friendship, because I see a lot of tweets and the memes like
Those ain't people.
The bots.
yeah, all
Like,
these
see all the
people are
bots.
all these people are fake.
Bots
I
need
don't
friends
have any
too.
real friends and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
The problem is you.
you
Okay?
are the problem.
I want that to be known. If you keep running through friends,
Yeah.
it's
Common
you.
denominator is you.
The
if you
common
can't
denominator
go
is
on
you.
a trip and everybody hates you when you come back, it's you.
It's you. Be accountable. You're the jerk. You're the douche. You're the asshole. And not a funny asshole, because I have asshole friends. I'm an asshole at times, but in a joking way. No, you're just a terrible person. You can get better, though. But I want
You
you to
gonna give 'em
know.
hope
Warren
after you
Pettis
shit
is
on
telling you you're a terrible person or a terrible friend.
Are you giving
Get
them
better.
toilet paper or baby wipes? Because that was
Man,
pretty shitty.
This is me holding you accountable. The problem is you, but you can make changes.
Look, Warren is not. He's not letting up off y'all asses, man.
I'm
But,
working on
hey, man,
Warren, y'all. I'm working on it.
I know, right? And look, I'll say this, man, before we're done. Look, I really, really appreciate my friend Reese. Y'all both know Reese. For
Yeah.
hitting me up and giving me this topic to talk about today.
What up, Reese?
Yeah, what up, what up? And with that being said, man, y'all, if y'all enjoyed the conversation, y'all love what we do, please, please, please go ahead, like, share, subscribe. Send this
Everywhere.
send this to 5 6, 7, 8, 9,
10 people. 10
Yes.
people.
Send it to somebody.
If
Let
you
them
are
know.
a good friend or want to
Exactly.
be, send it to 10
Send
people.
it to
Yeah.
10 people. There you go.
And
Work
those
on
be
your
your new
Alright.
friends.
Same thing with the YouTube. Make sure y'all go on our YouTube, like,
Yeah.
share, subscribe, and then comment under your favorite video, the one that you've seen. We really appreciate you guys, man. I am Sam Duke, and I am good.
Hey, I'm Tel McKell. I am good.
I'm Warren P, and I'm good.
And just like that, we are
We out.
out.